This is an activity from the freeform modeling course consisting of 4 curved strings, a square, 2 ellipses, and a rectangle. I'll create a through curves feature just like the original activity. I'll define the 4 sections, activate preserve shape, and set the alignment points to by points. Then adjust the alignment points to ensure the feature is symmetric. There are a couple of things to note about this feature. First, there are a couple of ripples in the section between the ellipses here. And this section is not straight. If it was, we wouldn't have the ripples on the surface. So what if we do want this section to be straight? The continuity pane allows you to apply a constraint at the first and last section. Setting a drop-down to G1 tangent prompts you to select a face for the constraint. However, there are no options to apply constraints to the middle sections. In the Output Surface Options pane, there is an option called Normal to End Sections. I'll activate it to make the surface normal to the section strings at either end. However, it doesn't address the middle sections. The only way to achieve the desired result with through curves is to create 3 separate features, so I'll reset the dialog and select only the first 2 section strings. I'll adjust the alignment points and activate normal to end sections. I'll hide the feature to make it easier to create the next one and repeat the process. Again, I'll hide the feature and create the third. I'll show all 3 features and also display poles for the sheet bodies. We now have smooth transitions with faces normal to each section and a straight section between the ellipses. And now I'll hide the 3 features and invoke the Studio Surface command. Just like the Through Curves feature, I'll select the 4 section strings, then in the Output Surface Options pane, I'll set the alignment to by points and adjust the alignment points. Notice the transition control drop-down. It is set to normal to end sections, but normal to all sections is also available. This creates a surface identical to the 3 Through Curves features, which is apparent when I display poles for it. I'll display another part from a freeform modeling course activity and create a through curve mesh feature. I'll pick these curves as primary curves and these as cross curves. I'll also display the poles. In the Output Surface Options pane, there are two drop-downs. Emphasis allows you to place emphasis on either the primary or cross curves, while Construction controls how the surface is built. The default is Normal, which creates a surface with more patches than setting it to Simple. I'll cancel this and invoke the Studio Surface command. Just like the Through Curve Mesh feature, I'll pick the same primary curves, and cross curves, and once again I'll display the poles. In the Output Surface Options pane of this dialog are two options that are similar to those on the Through Curve Mesh dialog. The alignment dropdown is set to parameter by default, which spaces the points for the isoparametric curves at equal parameter intervals, creating the same surface as the simple construction for the Through Curve Mesh. Setting it to arc length spaces the isoparametric curves at equal arc lengths. This is the same as the normal construction for Through Curve Mesh. The Switch Strings button switches to curved strings defined as the section and guide strings, which is similar to the emphasis option for Through Curve Mesh. There is in fact little difference between Studio Surface and Through Curve Mesh, except that by default you create a simpler surface with Studio Surface. Its objective is to create simpler, smooth surfaces that qualify as Class A.